Hello and welcome to the Permission Mission Show. My name is Mary McElhatton and I am your host today. We here on the Permission Mission Show with the WWDBTV, we are here to normalize the conversation of mortality. Yes, I know it's the one that most of us do not want to talk about, but I have a very, very special person here today who's going to talk about her loss and also how we met. And I want to introduce you to Susie Truby. You know that you and I were born in Illinois.
Yes,
That's something we have in common.
Yes.
And also raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but
Yes.
lives currently here in Las Vegas.
That's correct.
When I tell you how Susie and I met, or she shares how we met, I will tell you that what kind of work she does truly does make a difference for many children's lives. I'll let her share more about that. But Susie has two daughters. She has also a really cool grandson, a 4-year-old grandson, Liam.
Yes, correct. He's the best.
And, you know, when I asked Susie to come on the show, I knew it would be tough for her and it'd be tough for me. We do not talk about mortality enough,
Correct.
right?
That's right.
And today, I just want to commend you on your bravery to come here and say,
Thank you.
Kelsey's life matters.
Yes, it does.
And it's given you the strength and us the strength to openly talk about this. So, Susie, just for a little bit more of, who Susie is, please share with our audience, who you are and what you do.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me today, Mary. It's a pleasure. Like she said, my name is Susie Truby. I have my two beautiful daughters, one here on earth taking care of me and one watching out for me in heaven. And so I'm very blessed. And I do have a 4-year-old grandson, like Mary already said. I've been in Vegas for 27 years. Of those 27 years, I've worked for the district attorney's office in the family support division, specializing in child support, where I'm currently the deputy director. And hopefully retiring with a great legacy in about 4 years, moving back to Albuquerque, where I will be with my eldest daughter and my grandson.
So your older Allie lives in Albuquerque.
She does.
Oh, nice.
Allie lives in Albuquerque. She went back there to go to the University of New Mexico years ago, which is where both her father and I graduated from, along with my mother, my brother, my sister. So we have a long group of people who went to the University of New Mexico. So when she went back there, it was very comforting because that's where my mom is, and I knew she would have him, and that's where she's built her life, where she's currently a music education teacher for elementary school, and she is a professor over the a cappella group at the University of New Mexico.
She has a beautiful, beautiful voice. So let's kind of go back to when we met.
Okay.
Because we met quite a few years ago.
We did.
And I was the disgruntled parent not getting child support.
Yes.
And Susie, you and your team just welcomed me in to be able to work with you. So talk a little bit more about that.
So it was really cool. We had a new leader who came into our office that was very big on building the leadership up. Our office was not a very high performing office at all. As a matter of fact, we were 54th in the nation as far as child support went. This leader came in and really turned us inside out and upside down, and she brought in some very special people to provide leadership training, and Mary was one of those people. And it really came full circle when she had told us about her struggles with child support and her story. She had a great book that we read, and her partner really did some amazing work with our leadership team. And I'm proud to say that many years later, and implementing some of those things, that we actually moved to 7th in the nation.
7.
Which is amazing. We collect millions of dollars of child support for families and children. And it's been my career and my mission. And of course, I fell in love with Mary immediately because she understood from both sides of what was going on, and how important what we did what our mission was and helping us to get there and show those leadership skills and develop the people under us. So, that being said, we went through a year-long management academy,
Yeah.
and so wonderful that Mary and I also became friends.
Yeah.
And she also worked with my Allie
Yeah.
as a teenager and would take her on kind of, I want to say, like a life coach almost.
Certainly, yes.
And worked with her separately from me, took her away. And I told Allie, do you remember Mary McElhatton? I just told her last night. She said, yes, of course I do, Mom. I said, I'm going on her show. She's like, oh, that's so great. Please give her a hug for me. So
Yeah.
we're very, very excited. It's been so great to meet you and have you as part of my life. Mary also stepped in when I lost Kelsey, contacted me. We worked together and she understood my ups and downs and she was there for me. The service, a year later at the dedication, she showed up and she's always been there for me.
So, Susie, just to kind of walk you, kind of take us back to when you got the call, because I know that your story is kind of similar to when I lost my brother. We were out of state.
Mhm.
So, please walk us back through that day.
So, just a little bit of history. Kelsey, the most amazing kid ever, you know that.
Yes.
And she was great, great, great. She unfortunately had a friend that she met, and I think they got into some trouble together. Um, and there's so many tentacles to how I lost her. I'm sorry. So I got a call while I was at work that Kelsey was in Arizona and that she was in the hospital and that she wasn't going to make it and I needed to come down. I was not exactly sure what happened, but I knew it wasn't good. And without getting into all of the, unfortunately for me and her father and her sister, we will never actually know what happened. There was a police investigation, but wasn't handled quite as well as I would like it to have been. So there will always be unanswered questions. But I got to the hospital. I flew out that day, of course. My ex husband, Kelsey's father, were in great terms. He came out. My mom and Allie drove out from Albuquerque, and I was the first one there. And I walked into the room, and she was gone. But we were told that Kelsey was an organ donor. And the reason we didn't know that is because Kelsey decided she didn't want to get her license till she was 18 years old because I could just drive her around or Uber, right? That's what
Yeah.
the kids do these days.
Yeah.
And they said she got it when she was 18. Unfortunately, she died at 19. And they came in to talk to us about her organs and what we can do. And apparently it was up to us, even though that's what she wanted,
Yeah.
because once the person is gone, the family still has the rights to stop that from happening.
Okay.
And oftentimes do for many reasons that people may or may not understand. But Jeff and I, at the same time, were like, of course, we want, to honor those wishes. And we had a window of 24 hours to 72 hours that we could give them because they have to call a lot of people and coordinate a lot of things. At the same time, we're saying goodbye to her, right?
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. But at the end of the day, Kelsey gave away every organ. She saved 7 lives.
7 lives.
7 lives. And if I may continue,
Yes.
it was really hard and I didn't understand the impact at the time. That was more of me trying to mourn and trying to get through what happened and understand it and pursue answers, which absorbed a lot of my time. And a year after Kelsey died, on my 50th birthday, I went to the mailbox and I got a letter from the Arizona Donor Network because everything is confidential, of course. But it was a letter from a lady who was my age who received Kelsey's heart. And again, everything's confidential. And if you write back, that's fine. And you can decide to exchange information, personal, but normally it goes through the network. And I knew I wanted to write her back. I had the stationery, I had a picture of Kelsey. I knew what I wanted to say. For a year, I knew that before I could put the letter in the mail.
Really?
One more year. Put the letter back in the mail to the donor network with Kelsey's picture and a letter. So grateful that she was alive. Becky is her name.
Yeah.
And I gave her my email and my address and everything. And as soon as she got the letter, I got an email. We've been in touch. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I coincidentally went to Albuquerque to visit my grandson, and she coincidentally went to her family to meet her family in Santa Fe, and we got together.
Oh,
I got to hear Kelsey's heartbeat through a stethoscope. She is a wonderful, wonderful woman. She's lived 3 extra years because of Kelsey so far. She's doing well. Um, and it was such a pleasure to meet her. She's the only one of the recipients that I've heard from, which
okay.
is fine.
Yeah.
But she kept telling me what an impact we had on her life and how grateful she was. And I don't think she understood that I was grateful.
Yeah.
I was the one, like, she thought that I would be upset, but I was more like, this is amazing. And the fact that she had the courage to reach out and that I had the courage to reach back, because not everybody had that, really changed the trajectory of both of our lives. I believe in what we're doing now, which is both volunteering for the networks in our state.
Well, we have a picture of
Yay.
Kelsey. I just
She's
wanna show you.
gorgeous.
There is something also very similar to you shared with me about her and
Yes,
Becky. What was
yes.
that?
Becky has bright red hair, natural. And I want you to know that I believe only 1% of the population these days have natural red hair.
Yeah.
So that was really special. Becky and I are the same age,
Yeah.
a lot in common.
Wow.
And it's more than just a coincidence that we were brought into each other's lives. I think that Kelsey was working her magic up there.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there were a couple of hearts that Becky could have had, and the doctors just didn't quite feel right about it. And when they got Kelsey's heart, this is a perfect match, a perfect match.
Kelsey was a big giver. You talk about how
All the
she
time.
was always giving, right?
She
and
sure
always looking out for other people. And it's just so neat to see that her heart lives on.
Correct.
Right.
And it's comforting. It's emotional, but it's comforting. Very, very much. I don't know that I'd be doing what I'm doing today had this connection not happened. Had I not gone to the donor network and asked, what can I do to educate? And I'm still in training, and I'm still, going through the process while I'm trying to also heal myself. But they've been great here in Nevada, the donor network. And I work with a lady named Shirley, and she's incredibly fabulous. And that's what I want to do after I retire and I get my second job.
You're gonna
Right.
You're gonna first finish out
Yes.
your
yes,
first one of
yes.
making the huge difference of what was it we always reference to Cheerios and
Cheerios and
shoes.
Cheerios and
Sneakers and-
sneakers. Yes,
Sneakers
that's all the
and-
kids need. They need cereal. They need to go to school, and at the same time, the parents that are raising them need the financial support.
Yeah.
And we also want to have an emotional connection, if we're able to, with mother, parent, and father.
So Susie, what you had mentioned that some people don't contact the donors, and I'm wondering, because like here on the Permission Mission Show, right, we're normalizing the conversation of mortality so that it can be an acceptable, open conversation. So nobody ever feels alone. Nobody
Correct.
ever feels like they're doing it wrong.
Correct.
It's 100% guarantee in life of above anything else. And so what do you think a person who has received, what kind of words could you share to somebody who may be on the fence about connecting with their recipient?
So it's really interesting you would say that, because I have a friend who received a special gift of a kidney, and he's on the fence of whether he wants to reach out to the family or not.
Okay.
And I don't try to judge why or what he's going through or his family. But after hearing my story, he's now really starting to take those next steps. But I would like to say is it's a connection and a bond for both people. So it's not just the person who receives it, it's the family who then knows that their loved ones live on somehow, made a difference, that there was meaning behind it. And I love the phrase permission mission. I love that because oftentimes I talk, I wear my heart on my sleeve. That's what I do. Everybody I meet, no matter who they are, they're going to hear my story whether they want to or not. That's it. And people don't always know how to react to when you lose anyone, let alone a child, right? They don't know how to react. And I always say, you have permission to talk to me about it, and you have permission to not be okay with this and not speak with me. But when they start opening it up and really letting it out, then their story comes out. And they've lost somebody too that they've never felt comfortable about talking about. And it's so therapeutic
Yeah.
and comforting to be able to remember. Um, unfortunately, my daughter, my eldest daughter, doesn't like to talk about it, and I think it eats her up. I respect that, but I'm working with her, and I might engage Mary a little bit more,
I'll be
see
there.
what she
I'm
can
there for you,
do,
Allie.
um, and see where that goes. I just know that talking about it makes me feel better, and when people listen and aren't awkward or they open up enough, it makes me feel better.
You know, Susie, you're actually teaching us right now. You're teaching us mothers who have children who are at risk. My mom would always say that. She's like, I had 11 children, so my risk were higher, and she's buried 3, like, you know, she understands. And she's like you, where we've got to be okay to talk about it so we don't feel that it doesn't internalize in here and keep us from remembering every bit of her life that was her life and still her life, right?
I Kelsey was so amazing and a true testament. This actually just happened. I'd like to share it.
Yeah.
Wednesday was her birthday,
And
and
she's how old?
she's forever 19, but she would have been 23.
23.
Yes, but
Okay.
forever young Kelsey. And I went to her grave on the way to work and dropped off some flowers. And that was going to be it for the day. Drove to work, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, you already went to visit Kelsey for her birthday?" And she had all these bouquets of flowers that she wanted me to deliver. So I said, "You know what? I'll go back." I wasn't planning to. I said, "I'm going to go back on my way back from work and drop these off." And when I got there, all of her friends were there, gathered around her grave with a picnic blanket, Taco Bell and Starbucks, because that was their thing. These young adults, 3 years later, are still honoring Kelsey. I wanted to hear about them. I wanted to hear how they were thriving. It helps me. And they were a little awkward talking about it. So what did I do? I gave them permission. Please tell me about your life. Tell me how you're doing. And they're such good, strong young adults. And that's a testament to who Kelsey was,
Yes,
to her friends.
absolutely. And the
Right?
fact that they're still coming to
Yes.
celebrate her
Yes.
birthday and who she
Yes.
meant to them.
And I would
mean,
have never known they were there had I had not gotten those extra flowers to go back. And I just don't think that's a coincidence. I think that that's Kelsey up there making it happen. I really do. I really believe that.
I believe that.
She continues. At the age of 19, this kid touched more lives than most people ever do. She was just amazing and hysterical. She got that from me, not her father. She's absolutely funny as can be, a little snarky at times.
Yeah.
I would say, I hope I can say this, but
Yeah.
sassy and badassy.
Yes.
Yes.
With that red hair, you know, that
Yes.
must come with that red hair because my mom's a true redhead.
I love that.
My mom
I love
is,
that.
and she is sassy and badassy. For
Yes,
sure.
I'm telling you.
And we can say it because it's
Yes.
our show.
Yes, we
And
can.
Mom, if you're listening, I love you. And she loves to be, she loves when I talk a little bit about
Oh,
her
good,
because
good.
it does honor it, you know, and we're honoring Kelsey today.
I really
we are
appreciate that platform.
Truly not letting this take away, but add, you know, like add. I mean, because I don't want anybody to feel alone in their home where they can't have permission.
Correct.
Right. Your daughter's friends celebrating. I want to talk about that a little bit because, Susie, a lot of times And I was able to be there when we had all the plans and going through everything. And I thank you for that. I know that was hard for you and it was hard for me, but we did it anyway.
Did it together.
The most common thing I hear when I'm talking with the family about a final resting place is, oh, nobody goes back.
It's just not true. People go back and to Kelsey, and it makes me sad to see other grave sites that don't have that little extra special. We're Jewish, so we do rocks.
Yes.
And those rocks are still there to this day. The kids decorated them with whatever they did. They write messages. I'll go back now and again and I'll see new gifts put around her. And sometimes I'll move them over to the person next to me, her friend, and we talk. She's surrounded by a bunch of great people. We all hang out together and they're taking care of each other there.
Yes.
We have to, keep that going and share our love. And if the flowers are knocked over at other people's graves, I'll walk over and pick them up.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sight. And I'm very glad that she's close to me.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that makes me nervous about retiring in Albuquerque.
Sure. Well, you'll just have to keep making road trips.
I'll just have to keep. Hey,
you know
I
what
love
mean?
Vegas,
Or
baby.
you have friends here that we can get on FaceTime and bring
This
her
is
to
why I
you.
love Mary. She has an answer for everything, no matter what. Such a warm part of my life, Mary. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break here in a minute or go to a commercial, kind of catch our breath. You're doing wonderful.
Thank you.
So
Thank
grateful
you.
for you, Susie. Please stay tuned. We're going to go to a quick commercial. We'll see you right back.
Hello, my name is Mona Van Joseph, and I'm known locally as Mystic Mona. And I want to welcome you to a new program here on WWDBTV called 3. 3 is an amazing concept where a caller will call in, they will ask a specific question, and Chris Gray, our astrologer, Rainy Day, our clairvoyant medium, and myself, I'm an intuitive tarot consultant, will actually answer your one specific question. So all I want you to remember is 3.Vegas, one question, 3 readers, 3 answers, exclusively here on WWDB-TV.
Welcome back to the Permission Mission Show. My name is Mary McElhatton. I'm your host today, and I'm here with Susie Truby. We have been talking about her beautiful, beautiful, forever young Kelsey,
Yes.
who just celebrated a birthday.
Yes.
And we are talking about loss. We're talking about permission to talk about it openly with people. We're giving people permission to honor lives well lived, because when I say mortality, Susie, a lot of times people think it's just death.
Right.
And what it is meant to be is that it's more about celebrating a life well lived, no matter what amount of time somebody has had on this planet, because we will all have that day.
Right.
And it's hard to think about it, but you had limited time, to prepare. And I know, though, one of the questions that I want to be answered so that other people understand is, are you grateful that you had things ready for when Kelsey was going to be, like her service and her burial space? Tell me about that.
I was grateful that I had people that could get me there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that I had understood more ahead of time, or how important it was to have that stuff in place when things like this happen, so you don't have to deal with it when you're trying to deal with something else.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, the friends that I had that helped me, Mary, Monica, putting together PowerPoints and the things. I don't know how you pre-plan that, but I think there's something to doing that for all family members, for everyone. the process was very difficult for me.
Sure.
You have to move a body across state lines, and there are people out there that can help you with that, and you should let them. That's what I would say. You should let them.
Yeah. Well, and I think, just because I am your friend, my, I didn't want to screw it up either. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
You were nervous.
because this is why we are learning, right?
Right.
Because never will any of us have this down. Okay.
Right.
Never.
Right.
I don't ever want anybody to ever think we're going to have all this down.
Right.
It's just, if we have the opportunity to talk, and share some things, and even share Kelsey today, it's so much more effective, for Liam even. I mean, he's a part of her,
And he never met her, but he knows her. We keep her alive. He
Right?
knows who Kelsey is. Yes.
Yes. And Allie, she'll come around in her time. Grieving is different for everybody.
Right.
And proper grieving, I think, is the only way, is when we're prepared somewhat.
Correct.
Where all of us have the ability. I want you to know that you didn't know. Like, we live in a world where 90% of the world won't talk about 100% of something happening.
Right.
So, and it's been silent for a long time. So please know,
Gotta
like,
talk about it.
we're just tapping the surface of giving ourselves permission to openly and honor people who have passed before us. And
we have to do that. We have to talk about with our kids. We talk to them, right, about drugs and sex and all of these things. And we've had permission over the years to start talking to them about that. But there's also death. And there's also things that you have to be prepared to talk about. I know that when people are telling me during this last 3 years that they've lost someone and I'm trying to comfort them, they always say, I know it's not the same because you lost a child. I'm like, stop. Our grief is our grief. It doesn't matter who. You lose someone, you lose someone. So I give them permission to not focus on my issue when it's their issue or their feeling, and really allow them to experience that as much as they can. I also want to say that I did practice the 3 Fs when Kelsey passed. I have a rabbi in Israel, my Uncle Stuart, who wrote me a letter, and he said, remember the 3 Fs always: fortitude, family and friends, and faith. And that all got me through very, very well. Leaning on friends, use that when you need to. And then when they need you, let them lean back.
yeah.
My faith is a whole different faith. I don't know that I knew I believed in a higher power. I didn't realize how powerful it was until all of these not so coincidences. They're not coincidences. This is really a higher power putting people together and helping you move forward.
I come across people who have no faith, and I'm in hopes of talking about this particular topic can give a person an opportunity to understand or learn about faith.
Yep.
Right? Because it seems like sometimes it doesn't happen until we've had such loss, or such, I've picking ourselves off the floor and just saying, please, something has got to give.
Yes.
And then we start building from there. But
makes you a better person, makes you feel better. It makes you do better things with your life. I would like to, if I may, talk really quick about a few things that I learned about organ donating.
Yes,
donating.
Because that was my next
Oh,
question.
please go ahead.
No, my next question was, tell me, where you're at with this whole thing and volunteering and preparing for the retirement to do a little bit more. But
I wasn't familiar with what it all was until it happened.
okay.
but in learning it,
So she's responsible of giving you another job.
absolutely,
You love it.
always.
You know she's chuckling right
She
now.
is. She is. She's up there with me. So I've learned a lot, and there's a few myths because I hear people, and there may be a variety of reasons that you can't be a donor or don't want to be, and I respect that. But if it's based on some of the myths that are out there, such as if I'm an organ donor, the doctor who's working on me, if I'm in an accident, is not going to try to save me. They want the organs.
Okay.
That's a myth.
Total myth.
That's a myth because those doctors are separate. One is there to save you. The other ones don't come in to get the organs until much later, if necessary. It is not. It's just not true. It absolutely is not. Also, people think, well, I'm not going to be an organ donor because I'm a smoker, or who would want my organs because I drink. There are things they can do to fix those organs once they're out.
Wow.
And also, if you don't have another option and you're going to die, maybe you want that organ. Let's see what happens. They have people these days that are unfortunately passing away on fentanyl, right?
Yeah.
And these people that are receiving the organs have to sign a waiver that they'll take that organ because of fentanyl.
Right.
And guess what? 9 out of 10 of them sign it because they need a chance. They need
Sure.
hope. And a lot of them are doing very, very well. So if you are not a donor, please consider.
I'm a donor.
Good. Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Yes. Being able to keep something about us still going,
Yes.
I think is
Yes.
just a comfort.
Yes.
I mean, and then like you meeting Becky and seeing and hearing Kelsey's heart. Oh,
It's so amazing because, well, her mom's a nurse, so her mom brought a stethoscope, of course,
Yeah.
to the session. I met her mom, her daughter, and her 3 sisters.
Yeah.
Or 2 sisters. She's the third one. And it was absolutely amazing. Becky got to live to see her first grandchild,
Wow.
but not just see, spend time with,
Yeah.
as well as be with her son, see him graduate, do all the things that she needed to do. And she's still doing great. Excuse me.
You're good.
Um,
That's a natural part of life.
yeah, right.
And I love the tears.
Right. Sorry.
I love the tears.
They come out no matter what. But
I love them.
No matter what, I cry for everything. But the things that we have in common and the things that we have found as we talk to each other, for instance, her grandchild is 3 going on 4, Liam's 4 going on 5. And she was telling me a few months ago that she got her granddaughter, like the big kitchen that they could play with where it lights up and there's water coming out of the faucets and this and that. And I just was stunned because that's the same thing I got for Liam, and their birthdays were at the same time without even talking about it. So it's just been a really good connection, really nice. And I'm so grateful to her for having the courage to reach out. I'm so grateful to Becky in so many ways.
Yeah. I hope a lot of families out there just hear your story today and the importance of, connecting and just getting past the fears, right? Just all the fears. I know we spoke last night and Susie was like, Mary, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. And I think that is an absolute best place to be. And what a difference you're making for all of us here today.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you, Susie. And it takes a lot of courage. It really takes a lot of courage for someone to come in and just say, look, I'm not going to not talk about it anymore. And that's kind of how we, met too.
Right.
My mom told me, go to the source, Mary, with the whole child support, right?
Yes.
She said, go to the source.
Go down there, talk to them.
And I said, go to the source, Mom. What does that mean? I don't know where to go. And I went right to the source, and it happened to be all of you guys. And the leader took me in her arms and basically said, yes, we're going to do something different here because we want some change.
And you've kept a connection with many of us since then, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a
And
while.
I want to
My
thank
kids
you.
are all raised now.
I know, thank goodness. I want to thank you for giving me a platform to be able to educate. And I don't think I would have been able to do that for just anyone. It had
Oh,
to be someone I feel comfortable with. And it gives me a good starting point.
I think this is a good starting point, Susie. I'd love to have you back on the show
Sure.
more to really help more conversations about this whole donor, because there's a wealth of knowledge and education and awareness
Yes.
that we can still uh, absolutely bring into our lives that's needed and necessary at this point, right?
Right.
So this show is going to end here soon. I am always going to remind you all of the 5-second rule. So the 5-second rule is favor inside, meaning take care of ourselves first so that we have enough energy to take care of other people, and also value everyone and everything. I say valuing life is as important as valuing death, because look how this is a great example of somebody whose life doesn't end.
That's right. That's right.
It doesn't
Mary.
end.
That's
It
right.
doesn't end. So next week we are going to have Alexis. Alexis is going to be on the show. She is going to share her story of how difficult and how she navigated through her senior year of high school, losing the two most influential people in her life, her father and her grandmother. And she too wants to openly now discuss
Good.
how she can continue to heal and also bring more awareness to her age group, who, people who are young just kind of think, oh, this is only for old folks.
Right. That's
It's not
true.
only for old folks, it's for all of us. We are all in this together. So stay tuned for next week. Also, if you'd like to share this story today, share the Permission Mission show, please do. It's on the WWDBTV Facebook, also on Permission Mission Facebook, and Mary McElhatton Facebook. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next week.